welcome to another weekly reading vlog. So this week, I think my main focus is going to be The Name of the Wind. I started this in my weekend reading vlog from last week, and I got 185 pages in, and I'm absolutely loving this. So you're following a character named Kvothe, who is just telling this chronicler the story of his life from childhood, where he is with a band of theater performers, I guess players, and then he becomes an orphan, and then he is living on the streets in this poor city, and then he goes to a school, and so you're kind of just following his life. And at this point, I am at the part where he is the orphan living in a poor city. And it's written very well. It's very, very accessible, which was one of the things that I was scared of, because this is almost 700 pages. And so I was worried that the writing would be hard to get into and hard to like, and it would make it hard for me to read. That's definitely not the case. It's very accessible, and I'm really liking it. And it's easy to read. So this is gonna be my main focus for the week. But as far as like when I'm at work, what ebook I'm gonna read, I think that I'm going to start the next book in the Devil's Night series, which just came out recently. This is called Nightfall, and ooh, there's a novella out as well. I want to say Will's book, right? Because he's the only perspective we haven't gotten yet. Yes, it is Will's book, and Will has kind of been on and off in the book series. I am not digging my bangs today. Okay, so this is about Will, who has kind of been missing for the majority of the series. He has been dealing with a lot of drug issues and stuff like that. I'm excited to read more of his story and kind of figure out what's going on with him. And it sounds like it's with a girl named Emery. That's gonna be what I read. I have had a 2-week vacation from work for the last 2 weeks, obviously, Ashley. And so there's just a lot that I need to get done, but I will kind of try to read as I can, and I will talk to you guys once I have started something and I have some thoughts. I think that's it. So welcome to a new week. I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday season. I hope you got some sort of break, and I will update you guys later. Hey guys, so it is Wednesday, and I have read some stuff since we last talked. So I listened to the audiobook for No Exit, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So this is a story of a woman who gets stuck at a rest stop in a blizzard. While she is exploring a little bit and trying to get some cell service and stuff, she discovers that one of the other people that are stuck at the rest stop with her has a child in a cage in the back of their van. And so you get told pretty early on who it is, and you get some surprises along the way, but you're mostly just seeing her trying to survive and get out whenever, you know, the police come and stuff to clear away the snow. So she's kind of having to survive for like 6 to 8 hours until she can get rescued. It wasn't necessarily supposed to be super unpredictable, or like you weren't necessarily supposed to be blown away by the twists and stuff. I think it was more of like a suspense situation, which it was suspenseful, and I kind of liked the villain dynamic. Again, I can't say that I was like entirely shocked by the reveals, but I still enjoyed it. I liked the ending a lot more. I was gonna give this a 3-star until I got to the ending, and I really liked the ending. The reason it didn't get a 5-star was because there was an unnecessary use of racial slurs in this, and I get that it was like an attempt to further prove how messed up the killers are, but like, you didn't need that. We got the point. They are bad. I read some more of The Name of the Wind. I don't know where I was last time I updated you, but I didn't read a whole lot. I got up to 241, so he just got accepted into the university. And then I have been listening to the audiobook for Clown in a Cornfield, which I have about 2 hours and some change left in it, and it's bad. So like, nothing happens for, I would say, the first 40%. You get the death in the prologue, and then nothing happens. You're in this small town that used to have a thriving, I want to say like paper mill or some sort of mill, and now the mill has been abandoned and burned down, and so this town is not really like thriving. And you're following this main character who moves to this small town, and she's in high school, and she's like doing high schooler things, meeting friends and stuff like that, and nothing happens for the first 40%. And then they end up going to a party, and everyone starts getting butchered. It's starting to improve. Like, it was for sure a 2-star up until, I would say, maybe the last hour and a half or so. And it's starting to improve. I'll probably end up settling at a 3-star, because it's really just like reading a slasher movie, like in book form, basically. And it kind of just feels like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something like that, just with clowns. It is, I think, what it intended for it to be, a slasher. So it's not great, but it's not horrible. It's getting better. So I'll end up letting you guys know my rating when I finish it. But yesterday I got my new video on my true crime channel up. I also finished the first volume of The Girl from the Other Side, which is the manga selection for the book club this month. The announcement video for the book club should have gone up the Wednesday before you're seeing this, so if you are interested, make sure you check out that video. The Discord link to join the book club is in the description of that video. You can also see Erica's announcement video on her channel. I have a playlist, I'll link it above. Anyways, I finished the first volume of that, and it was really sweet. It was really cute. I'm not gonna like reveal too much. It is cute, and Erica has like already prepped me for the emotional turmoil I'm gonna go through reading it. I really enjoyed it. It's really cute. This world where there are outsiders, and they are like beasts that have been cursed, and if a human gets it, like if a human touches a beast, they can get cursed. And then there's the insiders that are inside of this giant wall that separates the two, and they are like clean. And you're following a little girl. I can tell it's gonna be emotional, just from the very first couple of scenes that you're seeing in the manga is super sweet and just kind of heartwarming, and I can tell that I am gonna be in pain, and I cannot wait for the anime to come out. I have some stuff I need to do around the house, so I'm probably going to finish the audiobook for Clown in a Cornfield, and then I'm gonna get back into The Name of the Wind. That is the plan, and I will update you guys later. Okay, so it is only like 2 hours later than when I updated you last, but I end up finishing Clown in a Cornfield, and I did end up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. And then I also finished volume 2 of Girl from the Other Side, and I didn't rate the first one, and I didn't rate this one either, but we are starting to see some action sparking up, and it's about to get kind of emotional, I think, because some things are happening and some betrayals are happening, and I think it's gonna be emotional. Something that I think really touches on the heartstrings in this one particularly is that the main character is like a little girl, and I mean like 7 or so, and so she just has like that childish wonder and like the belief that everybody is good. Because of that, it makes it that much harder to see her being wronged or seeing things bad happening to her, because she is, you know, that innocent, trusting character. And so yeah, so I finished that. I think I'm gonna read the 3rd and 4th volume, which I need to read for the video on the 30th, I think, of January. I'm gonna read those later, like closer to the time of the video, so that I have it in the back of my head what happened. So now I think I'm gonna pick up The Name of the Wind and read that, or I might pick up Nightfall. I'm not sure. I'm all over the place with what I want to read. Like, I'm really enjoying The Name of the Wind, but I don't know if like my brain really wants to deal with something that heavy. I have some audiobooks that I could listen to, but I'll probably end up picking up Name of the Wind. So I will talk to you guys probably tomorrow. Okay, so I'm running behind, so this is gonna be quick. You are not on a tripod, so this might be shaky. Last night, I ended up finishing And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, and I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I listened to the audiobook and read it at the same time, and it was an experience. I loved it so much. The audiobook narrator's voice was impeccable. It just made the experience that much better. And the story was just so fun. And I felt like I was reading a game of Clue, and I loved it. It was so much fun, and I had a great time. I will say that I did not get the version that uses any slurs. I think it has since been edited out, but I know there are versions of this book that use slurs in the title and in the book. Just keep that in mind before going in. I would like try to look for a copy that is newer, but I really loved it. It was so much fun, and I am excited to pick up more Agatha Christie. Jess the Book Freak, who is one of my favorite channels here on YouTube, I'll link her down in the description. She read Murder on the Orient Express recently and really loved it, so I think I'm gonna pick that up next. Other than that, today I'm still gonna work on Name of the Wind and probably Nightfall at work, unless I pick up another audiobook. But that's the deal. I need to get to work because I'm running behind. We'll talk later. Go pick up And Then There Were None. Okay, bye. Okay, it is later on Thursday. I don't know if I said that in the last clip, but we're gonna talk while I put my groceries away, because if I'm focusing on something, I won't lose my shit when I'm talking. So obviously, if you are on social media at all or live in the United States, then you are familiar with what happened yesterday, the day that I'm filming this. I'm not gonna talk too long about my feelings on it, because we should be uplifting voices of people of color who are the most affected by what happened. But I mean, it's disgusting. I am not feeling great. I do bi-weekly sessions with my therapist, and I wanted to do one this week with her, and she didn't have one. Anyways, so I'm not feeling fantastic. I'm feeling very anxious, and I kind of don't feel like reading, so I will probably edit this vlog, because editing calms me down. I order my groceries and have them delivered, and unfortunately they use plastic bags, which sucks. And I try to reuse them as often as possible, like for kitty litter and stuff, and I use them for ferret, just like things like that I need to dispose of for the ferrets. But it's unfortunate that they are used, but it is what it is. I want to acknowledge that I don't like this. So I likely will start editing this vlog once I have made some food, because I haven't eaten today. It's only 2:30, so the whole day isn't gone. I don't make time for myself in the morning to eat breakfast, and I don't end up taking anything with me to lunch or to work, and I really need I need to do better about that. I'm not actually putting anything away. I'm just putting it down on my cabinet while I'm sitting here talking. So I'm trying not to be too hard on myself when I don't have like B-roll and stuff to kind of fill in between cuts or in between things that I'm saying. Partially because when I watch vlogs, which is my favorite content to watch on YouTube, when I watch vlogs, I don't watch B-roll. Like, I just skip through it. I like it, and I think that it's great. I think it can be aesthetic, and it can be like the opportunity for the creator to be creative with their content, and it kind of makes it their own. But I am doing the same stuff every week. Like, my life isn't crazy special. Most of my B-roll features an animal or something like that. So it's the same in every vlog. And so I really do read a lot during the week, and I have a lot to talk about generally. I really shouldn't be upset if I don't have a lot of B-roll, because I have a lot of other stuff, other clips that I can use that doesn't have to be B-roll. I got a lot of pasta this go around. I think I'm gonna edit the vlog. Oh, I started the Nightfall, or I think it's just called Nightfall, the last book in the Devil's Night series, the one that follows Will and Emery, and I'm really, really liking it. It is almost 700 pages, and so I don't know how she's gonna make it work. I don't know how she's gonna justify that much, that many pages, but if anyone can do it, Penelope Douglas can do it. So we shall see. Do you guys refrigerate your bagels? We don't have any room, so I'm gonna put it in the fridge. So I'm really liking it. I'm going to put a spoiler card right here for anybody that is interested in reading this, because I want to talk about what's going on, but it's the last book in the series, so it's gonna be a little bit spoilery. So if you have any interest in reading this, go ahead and skip to the time that is on the screen, or whenever a spoiler goes away on the screen. So I guess what I missed from the last couple of books, possibly the last book just by itself, was them talking about how Will is like in some sort of like rich boy prison, sent there by, I think, Damon's dad. So what it sounds like happened was they sent Emery to the prison because they knew that she would get through to Will and make him want to leave the prison, or figure out a way to escape the prison, basically. And so they sent her, and she's at the prison now, and I'm not loving what's going on. I'm loving the book because we're getting flashbacks and stuff, and I'm really liking the flashbacks. Like, she writes such good tension between characters and the sexual tension, all that. So I always love her flashbacks and stuff, because if you know anything about this series, there's like a huge cat and mouse sort of feeling with it. They chase the girl, and I think there has been some opposite of that, and I think that she's gonna explore that a little bit in this one, where it's the girl chasing the guy, because Will is very much like a sub, and he's been a sub for, I want to say, Damon in the past. I think we're going to see more of like the cat and mouse from a female perspective, maybe. I'm not loving the prison thing that's going on, because the guy that is like in charge of the prison, the prisoner that's like running everybody, I don't like him, and he's like bossing the prisoners around, and he's like withholding food, and he's beating them and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, I'm not loving it. I'm not loving seeing Will like this. Like, Will has always been unknown in the story. He's always kind of like been on the outside, and we haven't really gotten a whole lot from him or learned a lot about him, but I'm not loving seeing him so beaten down. I don't know, I'm kind of just ready for him to rebel and see what's gonna happen, because I'm not loving the main guy, like the main prisoner, the one that's controlling them, but we'll see. I'm only like 120 pages in and it's almost 700 pages. So, like I said, I'm really enjoying it. It's fast paced. I'm loving the flashbacks, but that's the deal. So I'm gonna make myself some food and then I'm gonna edit that video, and I will talk to you guys a little bit later on when maybe I've read something, or I'm gonna start something, or when I'm feeling in the reading mood. So. So I finished Nightfall yesterday, like evening, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I think it was a great conclusion to the series. It was pretty long, and I kind of wish that we had gotten maybe the conclusion to the series in like a separate book, because I felt like Will and Emery's story got overshadowed by conclusion and wrapping everything up. The final conflict was, I feel like, kind of perfect for the story. It was pretty realistic in a series that's not entirely realistic, but you are kind of like gearing up for this big battle, which this is a romance series at its core. So I think that if we had had like this big battle, it would have been a little cheesy, but I like how it ended up ending, and I think that it was pretty realistic to how I feel like the series should have gone. I'm gonna put a spoiler card down below, and just to when the spoilers are gone, so that you aren't spoiled for this series if you plan on reading it. But I really loved Will. Like, his soft character in the flashbacks was like 100% what kept me in the story. And he's definitely like my favorite. I think that goes him, Damon, Kai, and Michael, which is unfortunate because Will and Kai definitely got the short end of the stick. Like, their stories were for sure overshadowed by trying to get to the next scenes and get to keeping the series along. Like, Kai's book was the second one, and it definitely was a setup for the third one, Damon's book. And then Michael and Damon got the most, like, as far as like their romance story, they got the most attention. And I wasn't like a super huge fan of how the females were handled in this story. I think they all kind of had like their own distinct personalities, but because the central characters were always the guys, in each book it was a different girl, we never really got like a clearer understanding of the females. It was them trying to fight their way into like the boy group and them not really getting there until the very end. Like, there's one, Erica, who is Michael's spouse, was there pretty much the whole time because she's from book 1, and so she kind of establishes herself as like in their group, but the rest of them kind of, you don't really get a whole lot about them. And I don't necessarily like how Alex's story went. Like, I think this would have been a great opportunity to introduce Apolly into the story, because I feel like her, Will, and Emery would have been great. I don't necessarily love that she had this other relationship with Aiden, I think his name is. I don't know, I felt like he was an addition at the very end, and I don't know if his character was really needed. Like, I really feel like she was steering it in one way, and then she decided to make it couple instead of 3, which I mean, it easily could have been, and it would have worked because I feel like Will had a connection with Alex, and so did Emery. So I don't know, I feel like that was a missed opportunity. Well, and the ending, so like, I know she was like setting up for a second series following their kids, which I'll read. The ending wasn't really explained all that well, so like, you're kind of getting a culmination of this storyline of like their family members trying to take them down and like take their wealth away. And so that's the reason that Will ended up going to prison, was because it was like a big scheme to get people on their side, and he was like partnering with his grandfather, who from the outside it looked like his grandfather was turning against him, but it wasn't like super explained why he was there or how his grandfather fit into it, and like how all of the villains were together and like what they were doing. You kind of were just getting their own separate stories, and then you had the face off at the end, and it just didn't really make a whole lot of sense. I wish we had gotten like a clearer explanation of that, and maybe I wasn't like paying the closest bit of attention because I really was just there for the romances. But I don't know, I feel like I kind of missed something as far as the ending went, but I really liked that it was ended up at like a stalemate where all of the power players were basically like, yeah, this is over, and then the villains were like hiding away. And I liked that Martin ended up dying, because I feel like that was like the only ending that he could have gotten. And I forgot that Damon's father died in Damon's book, so I was kind of expecting him to be one of the leading villains, because I feel like the trio of Michael's dad, Martin, who is Emery's brother, the cop, and his grandfather and Will's grandfather just didn't feel all that menacing and scary to me, whereas like Damon's father is like genuinely a bad person, and like I could see him being a villain. So I forgot that he died, because it's been so much time since I read the 4th one, and I didn't do any sort of recap, which I guess I should have done because I just completely forgot. But yeah, overall, I thought it was entirely too long. I wish that it had been separated into a separate book with Will and Emery, and then maybe like a novella, or just like a 200 to 300 page book at the end, like a 6th book to kind of wrap up everything that went on, because I do feel like it was a little bit rushed at the end. But overall, I really liked it. I think it was a satisfying conclusion, and I think the epilogue was a good setup for the next series, and I really love Will. So overall, it was a good experience, and I really liked it, and I will of course read whatever she puts out. I didn't end up reading the novella, which is the like last point, it's like 4.5 or whatever, it's like a Christmas novella. I'll read it eventually, but I don't think it's like imperative to the story. I didn't really get that much further into The Name of the Wind. I don't know why I'm reading it so slow. I'm not disliking it. It just, I think the size is intimidating me, but I really need to get into it. So I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna end up doing. I'll probably end up reading The Name of the Wind, but I'll update you guys later on when I have something more to say. It is Sunday, and it is time to wrap up this reading vlog because I have DNF'd 2 books since the last time we talked, and I read a great deal of both of them. But before we get into that, let's talk about the books that I finished this week. So I started off the week by finishing Clown in a Cornfield, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I finished the first 2 volumes in the Girl from the Other Side series, and I didn't rate either of them, but I really loved them. I finished No Exit, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I finished And Then There Were None, which I originally gave 5 stars and I ended up dropping it down to 4 stars. And then I finished Nightfall, which is the 4th book in the Devil's Night series. I ended up DNFing The Name of the Wind. So I got 335 pages into this, which is a little bit over 50%. Honestly, this was just really boring and I didn't like the way that the women were written, and it just was too slow for me to get through 600 pages, in addition to the other books in this series that are just so big, and I don't have time to be reading books that I'm not enjoying, so I DNF'd this. And then I also ended up DNFing Magic Lessons, which is the prequel to Practical Magic. I'm kind of a little upset about this because I had full plans to read this whole series 65%, which is horrible. Like, usually after the first 100 or so pages, I will just set it down if I'm not enjoying it, but I really wanted to love this. It was just so incredibly boring, and it felt like someone had Googled like witchcraft and like how to do spells and just like put a bunch of lists in the book. If you had taken all of the lists and spells and like random bits and facts out of this, you could have cut out easily 100 pages. Because every spell, every recipe she did, she repeated the ingredients over and over again. So if she did the same spell, or if like she sewed a color of thread into her dress, she would explain to you what that thread meant every single time. And it just was too much, it was too bogged down, and the story itself was just not there at all. So I ended up DNFing this. I am planning to watch the movie either way. I think I watched it years and years ago, maybe when I was a kid with my mom, but I don't really remember it. Those are what I read for the week. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you comment down below your thoughts on what I read this week. I'm kind of disappointed in the books that I ended up not finishing, but you know, it is fine. On to the next ones. And yeah, so I hope I will catch you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching.